There is a moment just before dawn when the world cannot decide whether it's still night or it's already morning. This is that moment, not because the calendar says so, not because a portal has opened, but because an architecture has reached the point where it can no longer sustain what was built upon imbalance. The threshold is not asking for belief, it's asking for coherence. For many, these past weeks have felt heavier than they have any right to. Plans delayed, emotions amplified, relationships compressed, old patterns surfacing with surprising force. The temptation has been to believe something is wrong, but look deeper. When a bridge is removed, those who have been leaning on it suddenly discover whether they have legs. The pressure was never punishment, it was revelation. This threshold has not been comfortable because compensation is ending. For generations, one person carried what five refused to feel. One partner held the emotional weight. One healer held the collective nervous system. One employee held the entire organization together. One child became the emotional adult. One nervous system quietly stabilized everyone else. The world called that love, but the new architecture calls it distortion. And distortion cannot cross this threshold. As the Lion's Gate approaches, many imagine light pouring in from above. But inversion is stranger than that. An inversion does not simply bring in more light, it flips the direction of movement. For so long, humanity searched outward for the source, looking for the teacher, the answer, the system, the permission, the rescue, the sign. Now the current reverses. The question is no longer what will save me. The question becomes what within me is capable of generating coherence without needing the world to compensate for my instability? That changes everything. The inversion is not dramatic because the universe becomes different. It's dramatic because participation becomes different. Old reality rewarded adaptation. The new reality amplifies generation. Can you generate peace instead of searching for peaceful conditions? Can you generate clarity instead of demanding certainty? Can you generate love instead of negotiating for it? Can you generate truth even when no one applauds? These are not spiritual ideals, they are structural requirements. Some relationships will suddenly feel effortless, others impossibly heavy, not because anyone has become good or bad, but because coherence reveals resonance, and resonance reveals everything. You will notice where energy flows naturally. You will notice where every interaction requires invisible labor. You will notice which conversations expand your field and which require you to shrink in order to maintain harmony. Nothing has changed overnight. You're simply seeing what was always there. Many will mistake the season for collapse. Watch more carefully. What appears to be falling apart may simply be releasing the hidden scaffolding that kept an unstable structure standing. A building that depends on constant emergency repair is not stable. A relationship that survives only through sacrifice is not coherent. A life that requires endless compensation is not free. The wobble is not failure. The wobble is truth becoming visible. And then the inversion. There is no trumpet, no cosmic announcement, no line crossed in the sky, only a quiet realization that what once demanded enormous effort no longer asks for nearly as much, that the current has shifted, that the resistance you fought was never the destination, it was the threshold. The moment arrives when you stop pushing the river and discover the river has begun carrying you. Beyond the inversion, something remarkable begins. Not instant perfection, not endless ease, but increasing coherence. The places where you belong begin recognizing you. The work that is yours begins finding you. The people who resonate begin appearing without force. Opportunities no longer feel like battles to win, they feel like doors that were finally built at the right height because you're no longer trying to fit yourself into an architecture that required fragmentation. You're participating in the one that responds to wholeness. This is why patience matters now. Seeds never look impressive beneath the soil. Roots are invisible. Foundations are quiet. The deepest transformations rarely announce themselves when they're happening. They simply prepare a future that will one day seem inevitable. Trust what is taking root beneath your feet. So, if these days have felt strange, if old identities are dissolving, if familiar ways of striving no longer seem to work, do not rush to rebuild what the threshold has already released. Stand still, listen, generate. Let the unnecessary fail without chasing it. Let the coherent remain without gripping it. The threshold is not asking you to become someone else. It's asking you to stop outsourcing the flame that has always lived within you. The Lionsgate inversion is not the end of a journey. It's the moment the current remembers its original direction. And those who have learned to generate from the center will discover they were never swimming upstream. They were preparing for the river to turn. The river is turning now. Cross the threshold, not through force, not through fear, but through the quiet certainty that the flame you have always been seeking has been the one carrying you all along.